Greetings everyone, I'm Kevin, and today is another installment of the Battle of the Book Covers. Last time I did this, I did English versus Swedish versus German, because those are the three languages that I read in. So I compared some books and voted. I had like English in like the American cover and the British cover as two different. So US, UK, Swedish, and German. Those were like the four categories, and I voted like this book looked better in the Swedish cover, so then I gave a point to Sweden, and so on and so forth. And I got some great feedback on that one. People who wanted me to do another one of those. So I decided to do it in a different way. This time, I'm not doing specific countries or anything like that. Instead, I have picked 5 books that I absolutely love, and I found a few covers of different languages that I want to talk about, kind of. And like the thing is, for me, if I would buy the same book twice, it's in different editions, and usually one of them is in another language than the first one. And that's kind of how I got this idea. Because like, I just had the idea that what if I find this book that I absolutely love, that I've only read in English, and I travel to Romania and I see this book in Romanian and the cover is so gorgeous, I want to buy it even though I can't speak Romanian. So that kind of like how I got this idea that, hey, why don't I look at 5 books that I love and see if there is an edition of this book in another language that I love so much, I want to buy that edition. You know what I mean? So without further ado, I will just go through the books first, the 5 books that I have. So if you are more interested in one of these, you can just click on chapters. I also have like the timestamps down in the description box. So if you're interested in some of these more than the others, you could just click to that book, basically. So the first book that I will look at is Frostblood, then Shatter Me, The Final 6, The Humans, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, and the last book, The Unhoneymooners. So every single book apart from The Unhoneymooners is science fiction. And that's also why they have like similar-ish covers. Like these 3 all have space. But those are the books that I will go through. So the first book is Frostblood. And this is the cover that I have. This represents the English cover. And I don't use the whole thing like US versus UK or anything like that. I have one cover for English as a language, and it's the cover that I own. Then the first cover that I have to show is this one, which is the German cover, Fire and Frost from Eisberg. And this cover is gorgeous. In my opinion, it's absolutely gorgeous. This cover kind of gives me historical fiction vibe, where you have like this queen who is kind of ruthless. So I feel like it really intrigues me, and I love the whole thing with like the fire in her hair and that. I would not have guessed that this is the same book. If I would go to Germany and see this book in a bookstore, I would not assume that this was Frostblood, which there's nothing wrong with that. I do really like this one. And then we go to the Russian cover, and this one I would not be mad about like buying this. Owning this cover. It looks absolutely stunning. Like, just look at her hand, the city, and like it looks absolutely amazing. And it gives a completely different vibe than this cover does. Like this, you have a rose with frost on it. But this cover, the Russian cover, is like this powerful girl who kind of magical. You don't get the fire vibe from it or the frost vibe. Just like a girl taking over a kingdom is kind of what this cover gives, the vibe that it gives me. And then the last cover that I wanted to show for Frostblood is the Spanish cover. And the reason I wanted to show this is because I would probably, if I would see this cover, the Spanish cover, in a store, I would be like, yeah, that's Frostblood. Even though the flower is not the same, but everything else, like the font, like the font, the flower here, and then the text, like her name, all of that is the same. But I don't know why they switched the flower to that. I don't like. I prefer this over the Spanish cover. Like for me, if I would have to pick one of these books to buy, I'm giving it to Russia. The Russian cover to me looks so stunning. I would pick that one if I had to buy another cover in another language than this one. I would buy Russia's. Then the next book was Shatter Me, and I have quite a few books for this one. This has a lot more editions in different languages than Frostblood did, because this is way more popular than Frostblood. But I'm going to go through the covers for this as well. So starting with Czech, and I really don't know how to feel about this cover. It kind of gives me what is it called, the Selection series vibes. It also, like, I don't like that it's, I just personally, I don't understand this cover. I don't get it. Why is there like these kind of diamond shaped things? And I just feel like this cover has too much going on, kind of, that I would probably look at this and be like, is this a princess story or something like that? I would not think it's Shatter Me. Then we go to the French, which gives me the same vibes as, kind of like as the Czech did, apart from this making me feel a lot more like it's the Selection. Like this book, they're never in ball gowns. I don't understand why the girl on the cover has a ball gown on. Like that makes it look like this is a historical fiction book. It's not. It's a dystopian. It has superheroes, and the cover, like the French cover, really doesn't say anything about that. Then we look at the German cover, is Firstblood, and I actually like this. What I enjoy about this is that we have this kind of girl, and she is kind of floating in the air, and it feels like there's something supernatural going on. And I would not personally buy this edition of the cover, but I do think it interests me more than the Czech and the French cover. And also, like, because Tahira Mafi is Persian, she's from Iran, I wanted to add the Persian cover. So this is what the Persian cover looks like. And I kind of like it, but I don't think that it fits the YA genre, like personally. And you can see with the shattered glass in her face or her head, that I at least get the sense that, you know, she's fragile, kind of. And that fits. That part of it fits. But other than that, I think it's a nice looking cover, but I don't see a connection for the cover to the actual story, to the point that I feel like I want to own the book. So the next cover that I have is the Polish cover, and I love this. To be honest, like this looks so twisted. This looks so twisted, and like everything is kind of broken, and I think it looks stunning. I feel like it looks really, really cool. I don't understand why she's wearing like a pixie dress, but I love the whole, like, the expression, the broken glass around her touching a corner and it's just broken beneath her hand, which I think it looks really, really cool, but I feel like it looks like it's more horror than Shatter Me. It actually is. Then move on to the Russian cover. This one is gorgeous. Like, just as a picture, this looks amazing. Like the dress, the flowing dress, the hair, like this reminds me of that book called like The Nature of Witches. I don't know, like where it's a girl looking up and her hair is kind of like floating. It reminds me of that cover. I don't understand, like this is another book that we have, another cover for Shatter Me with a ball gown. Why? Then the next cover that I have is the Serbian cover. And this one I think is interesting because just with the Spanish cover for Frostblood, this one is supposed to look like the original. So you have the eye, you have the text, and it's white and blue, and it's blue, but the way that they made this is so different. Like it looks like an eye under ice, and like it's like what is called scratched parts of the ice around her eye. But other than that, like all of it is the same. The color, like the colors of all of it, the whole thing, like up here is the same. The blue eye. So a lot of it is kept the same, apart from the fact that it's a completely different eye and surrounding the eye. If I would go into a Serbian bookstore and see this cover, I would probably think Shatter Me. And if I wouldn't assume that, oh, this book is Shatter Me, I would think this is either connected to Shatter Me, this is Shatter Me series, or the cover is inspired by the Shatter Me series. But with like the cover, with the title, with me or me, I don't know if it's, I don't like if it's Serbian, me, but with that, I would probably be like, oh, it is Shatter Me. And then with Harry Mafi and what it looks like, the line that is first scratched off, and then I would think like, yeah, that's Shatter Me. Then we have the Spanish cover for it, and I think as a picture this looks stunning, but I would think that this was Ursula, like a book about Ursula. It looks really, really cool, like this girl standing on water and her blue dress is flowing, but it looks like, if I would just see this picture, I would be like, is this a book about Ursula? With how the dress looks, I don't see Shatter Me at all. And I find that very interesting. And the last cover that we have is the Ukrainian cover. And this is the cover that I would buy. If I would ever see this cover in a store, I would buy it. I would buy it. Because this cover finally looks like a dystopian book. Like, this is gorgeous. I love how the title is scratched, like shattered with Shatter Me, you know? So like that makes sense. The ruined street makes sense. The girl standing alone just looking over all of this. I love this cover. I think this cover gives a better view of what Shatter Me is about than all of the ladies in ball gowns. In this, I would probably buy this if it came out like this, just because it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful to look at, and I don't have any negative things to say. I love the moon up there. I think it looks absolutely stunning, this cover. So if I would buy a different cover for this book, or if I would buy a different edition of Shatter Me than the one that I own in English, not to read but to look at, I would buy the Ukrainian cover because it's beautiful. It doesn't matter that it looks like a dystopian. I would own this and have it on display. Like, I would love to print this cover and have it as a poster on the wall. It looks that good, in my opinion. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Final Six. So I should also say that with The Final Six, it is a dystopian sci-fi. You follow these kids from around the world, and they kind of apply to be on this kind of program, and there are a lot of like challenges. After each challenge, people are taken away from the run of becoming one of the final six. And if you become one of the final six, you are going on a mission to Mars, because Mars is the last resort for humankind. So a lot of people, a lot of kids, it's only for teenagers because adults are too old. They would take up too much oxygen, or I don't remember specifically, but that's like the purpose of the final six. And I wanted to talk about the Portuguese cover because you can definitely see that it's this. Like, there is no doubt with like this little moon, the new moon thing, and the whole space part of it. Like, so far every single book that I've talked about have the original cover in English and taken it in, like, reimagined it into something else that you can still see the original cover, but it's done in another way. kind of, if that makes sense. So this, I do like it. I do like the whole thing with the green. I think it's stunning. I think it's stunning. Then we're looking at the Russian. And this one I find very interesting that it's inside of a spaceship. And the reason I think it's interesting that it's inside of a spaceship is because the entirety of the final 6 takes place on Earth, apart from like the last chapter or few chapters where they travel to Mars. But they're never in space for that long a period that it should be on the cover. So I feel like with this cover, I would buy it. Like if I would see this cover, I would be like, yes, I'm gonna buy that. Space travel, space exploration, you know, that kind of thing. And it's not what the book is about. So I would, if I would pick this book up with this cover, I wouldn't get what I was expecting to get, which is like a space travel exploration kind of thing, which the final 6 is more, it's only on Earth. 95% of the book is on Earth. And the last cover I want to talk about is the Spanish cover. And this one is again basically the same as this. It has the same, I actually think it's the same picture. Like you can't see it very well because of the glare, but I think like up here is what's down here on the Spanish cover. So I just think that they switched sides of this, but it like Los Seis Finalistas, it's those. But the big difference is I actually prefer the Spanish over this because you have the ruined civilization here. So with this Spanish cover, you get the sense that, okay, Earth is destroyed. Space might be the way out, but you would definitely get the dystopian vibe from it, which you're not getting from this. From this, you're just getting the, oh, it has to do with space thing. So I do prefer the Spanish cover, but it's not enough for me to want to buy the Spanish cover, but I do really like the extra details of it. But it's not giving me anything that the cover that I already have gives me, if that makes sense. The next book I'm gonna talk about is The Humans by Matt Haig, and this I consider one of my favorite books of all time. This has to do with an alien who gets kind of called in to go to Earth and eliminate a mathematician and his family, because this mathematician finally solved a big mystery, a mathematical issue that mathematicians have, you know, pondered over for centuries. And this mathematical problem is proving the existence of aliens. And of course, this alien does not like that they're found out. And they kind of see it as the civilization that the alien comes from kind of says that humans aren't ready for it, and this would only lead to destruction, and humans are too young as civilization to, you know, to benefit from this. So he is sent to Earth to kill this mathematician and take on his identity. And there is a cover on the list that I have been thinking about getting before doing this video. So you will definitely be able to tell which that one is. The first cover we're going to look at is the French cover. And if you haven't noticed, I'm doing all of the countries or the languages alphabetically because I love alphabetical lists. So we're going to start with French. I don't like it. I really, really don't like it. I opened my bottle. That's pop sound. I don't like this cover at all. It looks like this could be, you know, The Hypnotist, something like that. It's not. I don't like it. Let's move on to the next one. Like, I don't like the purple, the circles, the guy standing there. And why did they give him eyes? Why did it give like small, tiny dots for eyes? I don't understand. But the next cover is the German cover. And this is the cover that I have thought about getting myself. And it's because it's in German. Because I do really like to own the books that I love in English. I do like to have in German. not in Swedish, but in German, just because then I can read them in German and get better at reading in German. But I do like this cover, and also like the title of this, Ich und die Menschen, is Me and the Humans. So it kind of shows that separation from I and the humans, me and the humans. So you know that, okay, he's not human. The main character is not human. And I think in this cover, you can see that, okay, so there's an outsider, an alien coming to Earth, and it has something to do with a dog as well. But I do like this. I think it looks really sweet. I do, however, think that this cover looks like it's more YA or middle grade than the book is. It's dark. It gets really dark, very dark. So I think that's the only like main issue that I have with this cover. But then let's go to the Greek cover for this book. And this I wanted to add because this, for me, it looks beautiful. Like, it looks stunning as a cover, but it doesn't look like the genre that it is. It looks like it's something else, and it kind of looks like, you know, someone has escaped from prison and is gonna do some revenge to people living in this place that you can see in the far off. Then we have the Polish cover, and this one I kind of like. I kind of like this because this looks, I don't know how to explain it. I like this cover because it gives that alien aspect of it. It has a dog, and the dog is just like, what are you doing? What is up with you? And it kind of looks a little bit, I guess, as if it's a superhero story that this guy has learned to fly or something like that. But I do like it as a picture. I think it looks really beautiful as a picture. The next one I have is the Portuguese. And this one I do really like as well. Because you have like the view, like just the view is spectacular. And I think it's so clever that they use this lamp to make it look like, you know, a UFO with the light as they are trying to move someone onto the ship. So at least I look at this and feel like aliens or alien. And because he is directly under it, it either looks like it means that he's the alien or he's gonna be abducted, probably abducted, which is also not wrong because this alien that we're following in the book, he did kill and take over a human's life. So that wouldn't be wrong if that was what they were after. But I do really like it. It looks like a film poster, film cover, and I want to see this film based on this cover. The next cover I have is the Romanian, and it looks very similar, in my opinion, to the German cover with the umbrella, except for like now the umbrella gives light. And there's the dog again. I think it looks cute, but it doesn't look, I don't feel like that cover fits the book, is all I'm saying. Then we have the Spanish cover, and this one I think is, again, it looks like the book is about something that it's not about. I love that a lot of these covers has the dog on them, but this, with the fact that the book is called Humans, The Humans, and it's a dog on the cover, only a dog, I would think that this cover is about the humans from a dog's perspective instead of from an alien's perspective. The next cover I have is the Thai version, and I think this cover looks adorable, but it looks like a middle grade. It looks like a middle grade. But I think it looks cute, it looks fun, but it doesn't look like an adult book that actually has, you know, murder, suicide attempts, stuff like that in it. This looks like a magical kid with a dog. And the last cover that I have is the Turkish cover. And I wanted to bring this up because I find this so interesting, because this is so different from all of the other covers. With this cover, I would definitely stop and look at this a little more closely. If I go into a bookstore and I see Matt Haig, I will look at the book. And for this one, I would probably Google in Sanla and see what does that mean? What cover, what book is this? Is it a book that I read? Is it not? And if I would find out that it's humans, I would be confused because it doesn't intrigue me. Like the alien aspect and all of that doesn't really intrigue me. But I think just aesthetically, it's really cool. It's really nice. So then the question is, which of all of these covers would I actually like to own if I had to pick? So I'm gonna go with the Portuguese one because I really like that. And it's, as I said, it looks, if I would see that book, I would probably buy it. To be honest, it's The Humans by Matt Haig. If I would see this cover, if it's a hardcover, I would buy it. 100% I would buy it. I would definitely buy it. And if it was a poster, I would buy it and put it on the wall immediately. So this is the cover that wins for Matt Haig, or for The Humans by Matt Haig. And the next book that I'm going to go through the books for is The Long Way to Small Angry Planet. I want to say that this is not the cover that I thought that I was getting when I ordered this. I wanted to get this cover, which is the retro cover. When I ordered all four, kind of like a boxed set without a box, for this, the next 3 books and another Beckett Chamber book, like they came together in a set, and I ordered them in the retro cover or edition, but I ended up getting this, and I don't know how that happened. I was very clear when I looked through that this was not the cover that I was getting. I wanted the retro cover, but alas, this is the cover that I got. So I just want to say that first, that for the other covers, I got the cover that I ordered. This one I didn't, and I think that that's an important thing. This is based entirely on judging covers. Which cover would I prefer over the one that I own? Which cover would I like to own together with the one I actually own? So I just wanted to bring that up first. But this book has to do with space exploration. It is entirely set in space. So with that said, let's look at the first cover, and it's this one from Croatia. And I think it looks really cool. My main issue with it, however, is that it looks like a dark sci-fi, kind of like a war-focused sci-fi, which it's not. The Long Way to Small Angry Planet has more to do with understanding other cultures and societies and civilizations in space and in the universe than fighting. And this gives me more like retro Star Wars kind of vibes, which does not fit. The next cover we have is the Czech cover, and this one I kind of like. I like the spacecraft, the text, the background. I do prefer the text and the background more than the actual spaceship. I don't like the spaceship at all. It just looks like metal. It doesn't have any windows. The next one we have is the French cover, and this one is gorgeous. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. Just look at it. I don't understand. It looks like a painting. It looks absolutely amazing in my opinion. Like, I can't come up with anything really negative to say about it. The next one we have is the German cover, and you can definitely see from this one and the German cover that you can see that where the German cover got its inspiration, if we say it like that. But I do like it. I don't like it as much as this cover, which isn't even the cover that I wanted to have this book in. I think it's a beautiful cover to look at, but I would not own this cover. And I think it looks kind of weird with all the planets. It looks like they're just, I don't know, floating, which I guess there are, but it kind of looks like we're underwater in a way. I don't know how to explain it. I don't like it. The next one we have is the Polish cover. And this one looks more like the cover that I actually wanted to own for the book. And for this, I think I would have liked this a lot more without the spaceship at the bottom or the golden planet. Just like this spacey background and this text in white and yellow. I think that would have looked better, and not have the spaceship or the yellow ball. I think that would have looked better. But alas, I get it that they have to show that it's, you know, in space, spaceship, stuff like that. So I get it. But I don't like the spaceship. I think it would have looked better if it had been bigger and the yellow ball had not been there at all. So like the spaceship bigger and below planety, I think that would have looked better. The next one is the Romanian cover, and this is absolutely gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. I feel like this cover so far is the cover that fits the story the best, because it's, you know, more exploration, more, you know, being curious and learning about aliens and the universe and culture and languages, and just learning about other experiences and civilizations than your own. And this gives me that kind of like thing. I don't know why, but it gives me the exploration side of it. I don't know if it's like the brightness in the middle, but it kind of gives me that view that it's more exploring than anything else. Then we have the Russian cover, and I don't like this. Can we just move on? I don't like this. I really, really don't like it. Just, they're just too much. Like, I think it's the colors. There's just, I don't like it. Moving on. Turkish. So this is the last cover that I have to show, and it's the Turkish cover. And again, you can definitely see that it's going for this kind of cover as the original edition. But if I have to pick a book other than this to own, it's the Romanian cover. It's stunning. It does look a little bit magical in, you know, that kind of way, but I still think it's clear that it's in space and it's from some kind of space vessel. But I really like it. I really, really like it. And then we're on to the last book, which is the Unhoneymooners. And this one, I spent such a long time finding this book, this cover, because I wanted this yellow edition. I didn't care how I was getting my hands on it, but I was getting my hands on it. So I really, really wanted this specific cover. And as I said with The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, that's relevant because this is the cover that I wanted to have. This is the cover that I very, very particularly wanted to own. So with that said, let's look at the covers. The first one is the Czech cover. And this, oh my god. What? 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 I don't understand. Why did they do that? Why did they just put two bananas on a turquoise background? Open one of them and just peel it a little bit and putting it over the second banana. What? Okay, I'm moving on. Okay, Italy, the Italian book cover. This is a little bit different from the Czech one. This one looks cute. It does, however, look like they're put on a deserted island. But it looks cute. Like, it gives you the vibe that they are going to go to an island, that it is set on an island. Like, it gives you that, which, yeah, it's a nice cover. I haven't recovered from the Czech. I don't understand. Okay, Romanian cover. Ooh, okay, I like this. I like this. I like that you can have this, you know, the Pacific background. And you can see, okay, yeah, so they have flown there because of the airplane. And this resort kind of thing for something. And it's, I would guess from watching just the cover that they are business partners. Because of the way that they're dressed, I would be like, they're business partners, but they're not. I think I don't really know how to get the enemies to lovers, the enemies to in-laws to lovers across. But I do like the background. The next one is the Russian. And this, this looks like it's a different genre than it is. I am so confused I should also say, like, all of these covers I got from Goodreads. So all of the covers are on Goodreads, and this looks like it's an erotica. It even has a square with 18 plus at the bottom. This looks like an erotica. It does not look like the Unhoneymooners. Like, just compare. Yeah. Two completely different books. Moving on. Turkish. This one I think looks cute. This one looks cute, I would say. Like, you can definitely see what it's about. I love the bottom with the flowers and like the plants. I think that looks really, really stunning. And yeah, like, it's simple, but I like it. I don't understand why they put so much detail into the flowers and the plants, but everything else is flat. Like, they shaded it, they put like details on it, but everything else is just flat. The last cover we're looking at is the Ukrainian. Okay, this one I really like. I really like this. I love how they're on these, you know, floating things. Like a bath ring. We call it bath ring in Sweden, badring. At least that's the only thing I've heard it referred to as. And I love how they put it together so that it looks like the symbol for marriage. I really like this. I think it looks stunning, and you get the whole like honeymoon thing, newlywed thing. Not so much that they are pretending to be their respective siblings who just got married, but it looks really cute. I like it. I like it. So then the question is, which of these would I like to own if I had to pick? I'm gonna go with the Ukrainian because I just really like those details to it. The colors are really nice. It looks beautiful. In my opinion, it looks really, really beautiful. Okay, so those were all of the books and the book covers that I wanted to talk about today. There were a very interesting mix of covers. I think I'm still going to think about the Czech cover for the Unhoneymooners because what? Who came up with that? I don't understand who came up with that. And why all the ball gowns for Shatter Me? Please let me know what you thought about all of the covers. Would you like a part 2 that is this way, where I compare books that I own, that I love, with book covers from different languages from around the world? Or would you want me to go back to the whole like these specific languages against each other that I did the first time? Do you have any favorite covers from this list that I showed you? Are there any ones that you wish I would have brought up for the different books or anything like that? I would love to know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time. Good reading. Bye.